before we do start, I'm just going to say you all look, you're very, very beautiful today. Looks like Krasimir's actually done his hair, as have I. And Michael looks like he's freshly come from the grooming salon as well. The beard's lovely and kempt. Engin, you are the guy that usually sets the bar when it comes to male grooming, son. And I want to just say on behalf of everybody on the call, thanks for the effort that you've put in for today's show. Because, tell you what, Engin, you look amazing, son. And
I kind of have a feeling that you guys are going to mess with me today. But
hey, never. Engin, never.
I have Cressy here, so...
Listen, it's not about that. And we're going to start the show now. I just wanted to get that in, because I genuinely felt that when you came on. I thought, tell you what, looking good.
Michael looks tired.
I'm exhausted.
He's got the weight of the world on his shoulder, mate. He's in Dubai.
Every day those YouTubes, and then with Levan, very busy week probably.
Training non-stop. Right, let's get this rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Neil pick up the fat lad with you in the mother fluffing house, and we are back in the presence of greatness. And I want to firstly introduce the guest that I have on the show today, starting with a newcomer to the show. This guy, his first appearance on In the Presence of Greatness, but the clue is in the title. If anybody has got every qualification to come and talk on this show, it is this young man. He hails from the great arm wrestling nation of Bulgaria and is the most successful Bulgarian arm wrestler of all time. Ladies and gents, most recently, he soared to success in the Nemirov Cup, as was the Zloty Tour, which is widely regarded as one of the most difficult competitions in the world. Ladies and gents, multiple Bulgarian, European and world champion Krasimir Kostadinov is with us today. Krasi, how are you doing, son?
Hey guys. Welcome.
I feel great.
There you go. He never feels bad. He's not big enough. He's just not big enough, and we'll get that later on. But early.
I don't need to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, also, as you will have always guessed, if you're a regular viewer to the In the Presence of Greatness, male model, stuntman, it's Engin Terzi, the Enigma of Rage, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, and we're blessed to have him on the show again. Engin, it's on, motherfucker. Filling his absolute face before we even start the show off is the man from the frozen north of Canada. What is that, mate? Is that an egg?
Yeah.
It's a fried egg, a full.
Oh, fried egg.
I'm hungry now.
Always. I eat on your show all the time, Neil. That's kind of my thing. Yeah.
It is, mate. Hey,
I feel like it'd be disrespectful if I didn't.
Well, you got to, once you've set the precedent, mate, you got to keep it up, haven't you? Yeah. That's what I always think. Ladies and gents, it's Devon, No Limits Larratt from the frozen north of Canada in the house. Getting heavier, getting massive as we speak. We're the giant pumpkin.
I got to keep up with Engin.
Well, Engin needs to... That's not fair, Engin. Don't stand for that. Seriously. What are you now, Engin? About 93? You've lost a bit?
No, I am this morning like about 96.
96 kilos. 96? Yeah. Jesus, mate, that's big for you. I bet you're actually rock strong at that. We'll talk about that after. Last but by no means least, ladies and gentlemen, he is the current reigning WAL hammer holder in the super heavyweight division and has won pretty much every major title in every professional league that he's ever competed in. He's currently in Dubai, topping up his suntan and lightening up the beard. Ladies and gents, it's the monster, Michael Todd. Now then, Mother Fluffer, how's it going? Boom! Jack like Larry. So
Jack like Larry.
Larry, guys, if you haven't been keeping up to date with Michael's escapades over there in Dubai, get yourself over to Monster Michael Todd, the YouTube channel. There's plenty of stuff on there. You'll also see a lot from Mike on Larry Wheels' channel. The guys have been filming non-stop since he's been over in Dubai. What is it now, Mike? Like 5 weeks? You've been over there quite a while now.
Yeah, man. Tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon is 5 weeks. So it's time has flown, but I mean, I miss my family. I miss home. But we're here for trying to promote the sport, trying to build up our brand, get some good training in, have some good content, keep people entertained.
It's gone well, hasn't it, mate? What are you now? About 40 odd thousand subs?
We're like 46.3 right now. So we came here at like 31 and change. So got about 15,000 subs. Gained about 22,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, it's good growth.
Very, very good, mate. Very, very strong. And it's underlining something that will probably be a prominent feature within this show, that there is a real sea change in arm wrestling at the moment in terms of the wider audience viewership, the number of people that are genuinely taking an interest in the sport, and that have a degree of knowledge on arm wrestling and a genuine interest to watch it. Now, did you have any idea, Mike, when you went out to Dubai, that the situation that we currently see ourselves in would arise? What was the situation in your mind going out there? Was the aspiration just to do the YouTube thing, or did you always have that sort of burning desire that whilst you were over there, there was a possibility of a match with Levan Saganashvili?
Okay, so one thing I am going to say, I have been recognized more in Dubai than I ever get recognized back home. It's the craziest thing. Like, I've been stopped in the mall, and they're like, "Are you Michael Todd? Are you Monster Michael Todd?" I'm like, "Holy shit, how do y'all know me?" You know, and they don't even know I'm here training with Larry. They just knew me from WAL or whatever. So that's been crazy. But I'm going to just be 100% transparent. As soon as I decided to come over here and I knew the opportunity was to stay until April, I 100% wanted to get a match with Levon. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's nothing going on. There was nothing going on. So I was like, here's an opportunity. I'm going to be over here. We have had some very good, I have no idea who is messaging me. Decline that. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody was trying to. I have do not disturb on my phone, but someone was trying to call me. Yeah, so
probably
there's
Igor.
nothing going on. We've had some very good conversations with some very good people. I have no idea what's going on. So yeah, I definitely wanted to get the match. That was the whole point of. I mean, obviously, I can't say it's the whole point. I was coming over here to build our brand, to train. I felt like this was my Rocky IV moment. Instead of going to Siberia to train, I was going to come over here and train with Larry and get ready for a match. Now, that being said, I had no idea that Levon was coming. I literally got on the plane, and while I was on the plane at a layover, I found out that Levon was going to be here. I'm like, guys, are y'all trying to sandbag me like that Devon Larratt did, showing up at a practice? You know, it's like, what's going on?
I remember you did a video, didn't you? And I remember you did a video and you and Shoulders were outside the gym or in the room saying, "Oh, is this another?"
I mean, I really didn't know. I mean, honestly, because here I was all of a sudden, you know, leaving my home, you know, covering our expenses while at home while we're here to do this, and I'm thinking, is something going on? And that wasn't the case at all. It's just Larry really wants to get better at arm wrestling, so he had an opportunity to bring Levon over. There's some issue why he didn't come with Igor, and so he just reached out to Levon himself and brought him over. So we had a great time. Like, Levon and I got along very, very well. I can't speak on our conversations about a match because it's not my place, but I definitely want to make this match happen. You know, and I'm saying that if the PAL starts up or the WL starts up, obviously it's not going to happen. Yeah. But if there is downtime between now and this season, it is ludicrous to not do this. It just doesn't make sense to me. You guys may have different opinions, but to me it just makes sense. Arm wrestling world right now, partially due to Larry Will's exposure, is probably the most popular it's ever been. And Devon, you know, obviously Devon has brought tons and tons of people to the sport. But right now we have an opportunity to capitalize on the momentum that has been created through these different YouTubes and social media outlets. Yeah. So why not have a match, you know, best in the East versus best in the West, and find out what's up.
Now, let's just set the scene a little bit for the people that are new to the debate, that don't know anything about it. Effectively, Larry had yourself and Levan over there. There was a lot of you guys training together. That obviously set off a wave of discussion around social media. And as a result of that, people started to believe that this match could come to fruition, could be a reality. Very recently, the Professional Arm Wrestling League, Igor Mazarenko went online and made some comments. We'll get into that as we go through the show, but effectively, the gist of that was that they were not happy for the match to take place, and felt that there was some infringement in the manner in which the match would take place. In other words, it circumvented or negated their qualification process. So they felt that you were not qualified to compete against Levan Saganashvili. Now, I want to break that down a little bit, and we'll come to people individually on this. The main emphasis there, and the manner in which it was done, certainly, seemed to be targeting you a little bit and discrediting your worthiness as an arm wrestler. Whether or not that was the intention, I don't know, but it certainly seemed as though it was. Now, I wanted to start with Engin here, if we can, because I think you were very much neutral in terms of the opinions of the arm wrestling fraternity and what those opinions would be. Do you believe that Michael Todd currently represents the most worthy opponent for Levan Saganashvili in the world of professional arm wrestling, regardless of leagues or anything else?
I think, Michael knows my opinion. So you said that, we need to be as honest as possible. My opinion, Levan right now is number one in the world. But if anyone is going to pull him, it should be either Lalatin or Michael Todd, I mean, if anyone has chance.
Hey.
Don't worry about that guy. He's not big enough.
Yeah. First, prove yourself. You did in 2016, but it was different one.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
We're only warming up yet. He's already nailing people.
Anyway, so I will say my opinion. I have my opinion that is not gonna make either side happy, and I never look for that. I don't care about it. But as long as I'm respectful, I also expect respect for my opinion. Like before, I wanted to set something in Istanbul, and I was told also that the Wild didn't want. It was also off-season, you understand? And if anyone says that it didn't happen, I have private messages that I would prove. I don't want to go in.
Sorry, who said that? The World Arm Wrestling League.
I don't want to go there. I wanted to do something in Istanbul, something similar, or maybe something very same.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into
We're moving
details.
past the point, though, Engin. Just on the point of, at the moment,
yeah.
Let's just finish off that single point, because we've got a lot to discuss, and I want to try and segment it the best we can. Would you say that, in your opinion, Michael represents the most worthy opponent for Levan? Because...
Yeah, together with Lalatin. With Lalatin, they both have potential, to do something against him. In my opinion, Levan is number one. But if you are going to put him, against someone, it should be either Lalatin or Michael. And from one side, I understand Igor to say no.
Yep.
When you sign a contract, you give your rights to that person, organizer. Mm-hmm. And then I believe that, if anyone wants to do something with the athlete, they need to go with the guy who is holding his contract and then discuss with him. And I want this match to happen as well. I understand from Igor's point, but the way that Igor, I saw that, he was stormed, everyone and I saw a lot of disrespectful comments, a lot of curses, a lot of bad words to Igor. First of all, Igor doesn't deserve this. Igor is the guy, and I and Igor, we don't even keep in touch. I don't even know if he likes me or not, most likely no. But, because I don't allow, any politics in my page, WAF and this, I don't want that. And, looks like nobody likes me, But Igor, last 20 years, did a lot of great things for the sport in a professional. You may be angry with him, you may be angry or something, but you need to keep the respect. You understand? You can't be like just talking, that way. You understand? But Igor was so much affected by this in a negative way that the way that Igor expressed himself about not accepting this match was also a little bit disrespectful to Michael. And a little bit disrespectful to Wal as well, they are like joke or, he's not worth to pull Levan and this. That is not the way to do it. I think that he should respond more professionally and say that I am holding this guy's contract and I have different plans. And if anyone wants to put Levan, they should just directly contact with me and then talk with me or this kind of thing. But whenever he says, I think that I have been hearing that, not taking the Wild seriously or not finding Michael good enough for Levan or this. Mm-hmm. that point, I disagree with him. He shouldn't come to that point. And today I watched Michael's response, and then he was so respectful to his wife, respectful to Igor, but he said that, he also expects the same respect from them. And, Michael, between all of this, Michael behaved, the best.
Now then, let's park that.
One thing real quick. Prior to me coming over, I actually had a conversation with PAL and told them my intentions.
And you talk with them before you talk with Levan?
Yes.
Yeah,
before I came here, I told them that I wanted to pull Levan.
Okay, but did they say yes?
They had weeks to say something about it, and nothing was said until after Levan and I were here together.
Oh, they never even answered you.
Huh?
He didn't even answer you.
No, we were on a call, like on a phone conversation with them, and told them what I wanted to do. They're like,
okay,
well,
what did they say?
Do you remember exactly how they said it?
He said something about we'd have to figure out when
something about we'd have to figure it out. But there was no me being disrespectful or me doing shit.
So it wasn't like
until everything happened here in Dubai and we were getting
I want to say one more thing. Last a few days I am seeing Igor to put in picture of Levan and Michael together and do you think it's worth of opponent or something? I kind of think that this is what I understand, that Igor didn't like the pressure this way. Maybe now he is looking for a way to do it as well. So it is good to not to burn the bridges. And if it's gonna happen, just let's remember that it's gonna happen through Igor, and then let's be positive about it. Don't burn the bridges even in this show. Yeah, and
I don't want to get too far ahead.
Stating facts,
I don't want to get too far ahead, and we will come to that, Engin.
Yeah.
But just for the time being, let's try and break it down methodically if we can and work through what was stated and where we are. Now, the one thing that you could say in the defence of the Professional Armwrestling League, who we're talking about here, if it was another organisation, then the same. The one thing that social media has changed things, and I think it's very important to note this, is that because of the manner in which this has gone down in a very public forum, it gives everybody an opinion and everybody a voice, regardless of whether they are as informed as they really need to be about all of the considerations that need to be made from everybody's standpoint. Now, I think that's a fair point to just keep in the back of our mind. Let's move on to Krasimir with the same question from a Michael perspective, mate. From the perspective of the arm wrestler or a competitor in the top 8, do you currently believe that Michael represents the best, most worthy opponent right now for Levan Saganashvili?
Depends, actually.
He has his own dreams.
What?
You have your own dreams,
Yes, depends from the way you see the arm wrestling. I see it different from most of the people. So, according to me, the match between Michael and Levan had to take place. I don't care if it was just a training or a real match. I think that they had to pull. This is what I believe. Because there is so much time until the real matches starts. And I think that they had to pull.
And is that because of, in your opinion, Michael represents the most significant valid threat to Levan in terms of someone who may actually be able to beat him?
I cannot say this. In my eyes, the most worthy opponent from the West is Dave Cherry.
Okay.
But I see that they had to pull.
Okay, and we're going to get to the Dave Chaffee thing and exactly why, and you'll get the opportunity to sort of defend that, because I know that is a contentious issue. And a lot of people have raised that. We've had a lot of questions when I said that I was doing the show that have come through.
I know that maybe Michael will give more trouble to Levan than Dave.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that King's Move thing, I prefer to see Levan versus Dave.
Okay.
But if most of the people are okay seeing the style of Michael, I'm fine with that, and let this match happen.
So if we establish one rule now that I think we can probably all agree on at the bottom of the screen, so everybody who's at the bottom of my screen now probably on the same page, we'll park that over here, and we'll call that sub-rule.
You didn't even get to me.
Yeah, no, I'm coming to every sub-rule, right, that we're going to agree upon.
Oh, the
from Krasimir and Engin, this sub-rule, and I want you to keep in your mind, everybody that Kings moves is a bastard, right? So we'll take that subheading and put that over here with this.
No. Repeat that again. What did you say?
Everybody that Kings moves.
Why in the hell would you make him repeat it, Engin?
Yeah.
I mean, once was enough. I mean, what are you talking about?
Because if
particularly that guy who destroyed your elbow, he's a bastard.
Yeah. What's that? Say.
We don't like him either. We don't like that you were taken down in the prime of your career and reduced to this angry person.
Hey, don't get him going.
This line in your head now. This line is the same thing. So Michael can't straighten his arm. You can't bring that crease out of between your eyes. It's the same thing.
Right. Let's get the subheading. We'll put that down here. Basically, Engin, that's saying that everybody who's King's move, it's not even a move, right? So forget that. But if you take the King's move out of the scenario, I think what Krasimir was saying in a roundabout way is, Michael is clearly a bastard because of King's move, but I accept, begrudgingly, that he probably will give Levan a more difficult time than Dave Chafee. Is that a fair assessment, Krasi?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are several ways to look at arm wrestling. First way is my way, trying to win fair.
Yeah.
The second way.
Oh, this is crazy. You need to stop.
The second way.
You need to sum him up right now. Otherwise, this show is going nowhere.
Well, the second way is trying to win. Doesn't matter how. Cheating or doesn't matter how. Anything possible.
Right, I'm going to tell you a little story here. I don't want to get too far off topic, right? But I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was a child, I went to a sweet shop, right? I went into the sweet shop. There was me and two of my friends, and we went to a sweet shop. Okay? And I was young, and they were young. We were maybe 4 or 5 years old, okay? And nobody had any money. And at the front of the shop, there was like a little tray with sweets in it. And we all stood there. And at that time, I really wanted those sweets, and the other two kids really wanted those sweets. And after about 5 or 10 seconds, my desire to get the sweets overcame me, Krasi. It overcame me, and I reached out a chubby hand like this, not dissimilar to this one, reached it out, grabbed the sweets, ate the sweets, and the guy who was the shopkeeper kicked us out. He said, "Hey, you little... get out of the shop," and we all ran out of the shop. Now, when we got out of the shop, my two friends turned around and said, "Neil, that's really bad. You took the sweets while you were in there, and we didn't have any money, and you ate the sweets." Now, that is true. It was very wrong and very bad. But I got the sweets.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and step in here. That's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. You just equated stealing to winning within the rules.
No.
I liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I thought that shit was stupid. So we can carry this on respectfully, or we can say dumb shit like that. That's where I'm at with it.
Mike, you're missing the point, mate.
I'm not missing shit. I just got called a cheater.
No.
You said there's a fair way and there's a cheating way. Never fucking cheated in my life. And then you associated stealing with cheating.
No, not really. But anyway.
Let's take it easy on Mike. Let's be nice to Mike.
He's in a sensitive place at the moment, but that isn't exactly what we're talking about at all.
Devon doesn't get upset. He does the very same thing, but he is more popular. Nobody messes with him. Everyone messes with you.
No, that ain't the case. Listen.
I've done so much to try to make stealing sweets cool, okay? I've done everything I can.
Listen,
Michael,
let's get back on the track before we lose it here, all right? Before we do that, Engin, we've got to get Devon's opinion on this, okay? We got Krassi's, we got your own. I want to get the same thing from Devon. Devon, in your opinion, does Michael currently represent the most valid, legitimate opponent of Levan Saginashvili that is currently available in the world?
Okay, so I will go a little bit more long-winded because, I feel like there's a couple things that have been missed. But I care very much about arm wrestling, like we all do on this show, right? I love this group. You guys are all amazing, and it's good that we have a little bit different perspective. What I will say is this is a unique time, a very, very unique time. Most of the time we are constrained. We've been very constrained for probably the past 3 years. Maybe more, maybe 4 years, maybe even 5, where to get the best from the East and the best from the West to come together it's been difficult. And we all know this, right? Does anybody disagree that it has been difficult?
I think it still is difficult, mate, in any scenario, because you've got splits everywhere. You've got PAL, you've got WL, you've got WAF, you've got IFA. There are splits everywhere.
Right.
But I think the critical point to establish there is validity and the fact that none of those organisations, none of them, are currently able to be active as an organisation.
Right.
That's a critical consideration to establish. None of them are active or can be active as an organisation right now.
So we have a very unique opportunity at the moment, okay? So we do have a time frame to get this done. Okay, so moving past that and back to what we're trying to find out. I think that there's been a lot of times when we absolutely have known who the best person on the planet is. And I think that there's been times when we kind of think we know who the best person on the planet is. There have been title holders, there have been strong title holders, and there have been weaker title holders. Go back to, you can kind of go through the list. You can go John Brzenk, maybe Alexei Vovoda, maybe back to John, maybe me for a little bit. And then I'll tell you, the problem is a lot of the number one spot goes away due to inactivity, like it did with Vovoda. Vovoda was the number one guy. Went away, did bobsled. And from there, it was presumed to go back to John after John and Ferret pulled, right? Because I think Fareed at that time kind of represented the best from the East. And they pulled in Vegas. And then when I beat John, it was kind of presumed that I was the guy. Then I had elbow surgery. And based off of a whole bunch of loose criteria, it was assumed that Dennis, Andre, anyways, there's been a whole bunch of soft transfers. What I mean by that is not necessarily has the number one guy actually lost the title. And that's been that way for quite a while when you look at the way that fate has thrown things into our sport. Andre, Dennis, the health issues, the death. And there is absolutely such a strong argument to be made. Not when you go off, oh my God, Levon's a monster. Look what do I think? I think Levon is the best guy in the world. I think Vitaly is a super bad dude. Levon and Vitaly have plenty of opportunity to pull each other.
And have just pulled.
Right. And they've
most recently have just pulled.
Absolutely. So
nothing's recent though. Before you go any further, nothing's recent.
Well, that's
what
2019.
Recently.
Okay,
what I'm saying is you wouldn't
put
those together.
Thinks these are recent and they're not recent.
No. Right.
So
but
I'm going to jump in after Devon and tell this story.
I'm not in as much of a hurry to see Vitaly and Levon because I'm very confident that they're going to have an opportunity to pull again. So no matter what I think, if Vitaly's better than you, it doesn't matter. What really matters to me is you, Michael, you've been floating in this spot where you gave the best possible match to John Brzenk. You gave the best possible match to Denis Saplenkov, to Andrei Pushkar, to myself. You have given the best possible match to the number one contender over the last basically decade. And to not think that you need, like, this needs to happen. Like, for you at 48 years old, when this year kind of goes by and the leagues start up again, if this match hasn't happened, it will be a complete failure for the sport. And it'll be a complete failure for your legacy, because you have a right to say that you're the number one guy ever since like 2012. Well, no, because you lost to Dennis. But ever since basically that happened, 18, it is so up in the air for me. It is so.
Devon, just to pick up on one of the points you said there, which I think is ultra valid, and it's one I've got written down to bring up in the show, is that if you track that back, not only has Michael been involved in those battles, but the other day when the Professional Arm Wrestling League put out that chronological thing where they said, okay, this is the history in Vendetta, I think it's also important that we know as a collective, and so the people who may not be aware of this in the wider sport, Michael has faced a lot of these guys, not just in the Professional Arm Wrestling League, but he faced them in other settings.
Right.
Most notably, probably the Arnold Classic, but he faced Trubin there, he faced Dennis there, and anybody correct me if they see this differently, but I don't think that was detrimental to the Professional Arm Wrestling League's following matches with Mike and that person. So in other words, if anything, it added to the hype. It probably added to people wanting to see that match, because if you're a Devon fan, if you're a Dennis fan, if you're a Trubin fan, doesn't matter whether you've won or lost, you want to see your man get another shot at that guy. So let's say, just as a scenario, that the worst situation happened for a Professional Arm Wrestling League athlete, and they came over, a match took place outside of the Professional Arm Wrestling League, outside of the World Arm Wrestling League, in a totally different environment, and Michael won. So if Levan and Michael pulled and Michael won, do you think that that would be detrimental to a potential rematch, to the notoriety or validity of Levan as an athlete going forward? I'm not sure it would. I think that might be a misconception, personally.
I think that everything builds the sport, like you said. But just to go back on how is Michael the best for the match, I don't think that ever in recent history has there been a more clear champion from the West and a more clear champion from the East than what we have right now. We have never, ever had such a clear opportunity to crown a world champion where basically nobody can say anything.
Because in the East, the big guns, the big five, if you want to call them that, although there's probably less than that now, are in that conversation legitimately. There's probably 2 or 3 that are legitimately in that conversation.
Yes, some are not big enough.
And that other dude that's not big enough. But those guys that are in that conversation have faced each other and they've come to a pinnacle, that pinnacle represented by Levan. Interestingly, and one of the things that I wanted to pick up on before was where Krasimir talked about the whole situation with Dave being a legitimate and valid contender. With all due respect to Dave, Michael dominated him. And, more importantly, has never actually lost a match to Dave in his career, ever.
Well, I haven't lost a tournament. I've been pinned by him twice.
A pin, but that's a round. I mean, so if you face each other in a super match, you won the super match. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I don't say I dominated Dave. I just beat his riser. I beat an area that negated all the other areas that he was stronger than me. Okay. Which is what I plan to do with Levan. Here's the deal. Before we go any further, I'm going to answer the question real quick. I don't think Devon's finished. I don't know if he is or not. Am I the best guy to face Levan? I have no idea. We haven't seen anybody arm wrestle in a year and a half. But Tally might be the man. Who knows who the man? Trubin might be the guy. Who knows? We don't know. But I deserve a shot. I don't know. but I deserve a shot.
I agree.
That's all I'm telling you. I can't say I'm the best candidate to pull him or I have the best chance of beating him, but I like my chances. There might be other people that like their chances as well. But I do think I have a lane, and I do think I have a way to win the match. And I'm ready to do it. So it comes down to the fact that, just like Devon said, we have an opportunity while the leagues are inactive to showcase this sport that we all love so much to the world.
Yep.
In the biggest possible spectacular fashion. It's Rocky. It's the East versus West. I mean, Levon's awesome. I love the dude, but this can sell. This is big. This can take our sport the biggest bump we've ever gotten. So why not do it? It doesn't hurt anybody.
Not only that,
it's
better.
I lost a guy that I'm supposed to lose to. If Levon loses, he lost to me because I'm a King's mover. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? We are athletes, and we train for a reason, and that's to find out how good we are on that day at that competition, and the two of us just want to know. So that's my answer to that. You know, I can't say I'm the rightful guy to do it, but I have as much credibility to do it as anyone else does.
In your heart
if
of
nothing's
hearts,
going on, why not do it?
In your heart of hearts, is it not fair to say that you would believe that everybody else in the world you think you could probably beat now?
Larratt was dangerous as shit. But,
that's true.
I mean, I cannot speak on how the match with Levon's going to happen and how the match with Larratt is going to happen. I do believe I have opportunities against both those men to win. They both have opportunities to beat me as well.
Sure.
So,
well, that answer there alone lies some of the beauty of this thing. I was saying it's better than Rocky because in some respects this isn't a finite thing. It's not a final decision, an ultimate decision. You and Levon have bonded and you're actually quite close and good friends. You struck up a friendship out there. This is something that you guys might pull 5 times, 3 times. Who the hell knows? But you would hope that it wouldn't be a one and done. If you both, God forbid, nobody gets injured or damaged or anything like that, it's likely that for the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to be in the conversation for the top guys in the world. So you would hope that it won't be a one and done. There could be 2 or 3 matches. You know, if there was a match, regardless of who wins, I'm sure the Michael Todd fans and I'm sure the Levon fans will have their own opinions again about why that result went that way, and it just adds to that conversation. But as you just said, it's huge for the sport.
A lot of things that we want to say as well, but can we also say something?
I don't know. Go on then again.
Okay. Michael, whenever people criticize you about like going under the table and then you are showing an example, okay, when did I do that last time and I beat Jerry over the table? Are you planning to do the same thing against Levon as well or whatever necessary?
I 100% expect to pull against him exactly the way I pulled all of 2019 season.
Oh, okay. You know what? I will tell you something. If you do such thing, and if you win, everyone should just shut up and just say that Michael Todd is just one of the best ever, there.
I mean, that's my intention. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's how I plan to pull, and that's how I'm going to train to pull. But if the match does stop.
I see your training videos. You are over, yeah.
I mean, that's what I plan on doing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, and I will not do anything that's outside the rules. If we have a set of rules, I will arm wrestle within those rules.
Okay.
My intentions are to stay in an open top row or fast shoulder press or whatever it takes to win.
Well, what if Levon says that, going below is a foul? Do you accept that?
Yeah, that's the rules, isn't it? Isn't that the rules?
Yeah, but it doesn't always go like as it is, by the rules.
So let me tell you the truth. I would do it under any rule system. I would prefer a hybrid, which would be the Arm Wars rule system. I would like you not be able to intentionally foul to get a restart. Because when I stop the match, a smart arm wrestler is going to quit, or they're going to purposely foul so they have to stop the match again. I would rather it be PAL table, hard pads, all that shit, but running fouls. I would prefer that. That doesn't mean I won't take it under PA rules. I'll take it however I can get it.
I think you make a valid point there, mate, in terms of the restart thing. That's a really valid point.
After Michael said all this, I think that, there is no excuse for this match. I think Igor loves arm wrestling. He has done a lot for the arm wrestling. And with such condition, I mean, to say no, I don't know. I don't see any reason. And you don't want to talk behalf of Levan, but looks like Levan would want to pull you as well.
I can't speak for Levan. But I'm going to go real quick. This is something that is going to make a lot of sense, and I want y'all's opinion. Okay, so I'm going to read this.
It's not cheating.
So tell me if your teacher gives you an open book test, and you take that test with your book open, it does not mean you cheated. You did what you needed to do to get the best score.
Within the rules.
Using a king's move within the rules is not cheating. It's functioning within the rules. So you know you don't like it, change the rules, whatever. But I'm no cheater. I mean, that's the thing.
Did Rebecca write that?
How good was that,
Did
though?
Rebecca write that for you? You
I've been holding that shit there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, that's quality shit.
On the video the other day. I see these tricks.
No, she didn't.
I thought everybody was reading from a script nowadays.
That's it. That's the whole.
Oh, Michael, Todd. What the fluff? I can't believe you've gone there. He's come on revved up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, yeah. The great Rimkus.
What was it? Was it what he said?
I
was like, Dave, man. Sell it a little bit.
It's all in good fun, guys. I mean, it's all good.
Listen, the rule system thing is very important. Obviously, you'd said before, Mike, that you didn't care what rule system it went under, which is, myself and Devon did a show the other day, okay? And on that show, I said I felt that the rule system did matter and it could be critically important. I think that you've just made one of the points that I was referring to in terms of the critical importance of the rule, and that would be on the restarts. So, in other words, if you can intentionally foul to get the restart, for me, that changes things. And if you cannot, that's a much better... Look, let's boil this down a simple way. For me, the Arm Wars ethos was based on a simple principle. That simple principle was as follows. The whole idea of professional arm wrestling is to give fans of the sport what they want to see. End of. What they want to see is the best matches between the best athletes, and they want to see the matches contested and finished. They don't want to see fouls. They want to see the best men pull each other and see the outcome of those matches. And that's what that rule was for. To try to create a situation where you couldn't professionally foul yourself out of the match in order to get the restart. That's simply what it was for. And I do think that that's a really important situation because arm wrestling is at its best when it turns into a stopped battle scenario. We had Yanis Amelins on the call the other day. And Yanis was talking about he loves arm wrestling match and enjoys an arm wrestling match when the match stops because only at that point do you get to actually arm wrestle and think your way through the match. And that surely there lies the beauty of arm wrestling. You know? There lies the beauty of arm wrestling. And what better illustration would you have of that if you had a situation where the match stopped and both guys get the opportunity to then try to think their way through the match? Michael through his style of arm wrestling, Levan through his. Sorry, Dev, go.
One of the things that I've had a little bit of objection to that I've kind of seen over the past few days is, I would say, a bias becoming presented as some kind of a fact. And what I see is there's arm wrestling, okay? And arm wrestling is what we're all trying to do, all the way from WAF to PAL to Arm Wars to WOW to Arm Sumo to Freedom to any organization who's trying to do anything in this sport. And I think that we all see each other and we all kind of look at each other's experiments and say, that's good, I like that, or that's not good, I don't like that. And I think that there is a middle of arm wrestling. And I think that on this call, okay, we have people on all sorts of sides of that spectrum. My personal opinion is if this match is held too closely by the PAL, I think that when we look back on it, it will be slightly devalued. If we do not come to a little bit more of a center, there will be an excuse for people to say, yeah, but the rule system favored this guy or favored that guy. I think that for anybody to still argue at a professional level, at the level that Mike and Levon will be pulling, that running fouls is not the way that we should do business, to me, I think that you're missing the middle of arm wrestling. I think that that stopping matches with fouls, I think that is not the center anymore. I think that is starting to become a little bit on the fringes. I understand that a lot of my theories about arm wrestling are fringe. I understand that. And there's parts that I would push that I would know that are not the center of where arm wrestling needs to be. But I think if this match wasn't with some kind of a blend, I think that we've failed.
Krasimir, do you think there's any benefit in the match taking place not in either of the big leagues for the big leagues themselves? So if you're the management of the World Arm Wrestling League or you're the management of the PAL, do you think it's beneficial that it happens somewhere else?
As I said, there are many people who see the arm wrestling differently. Devon and Michael obviously see the match like a chess game. I see it mostly like a strength sport. And there are many people who likes one of these sides. So if this match would make a lot of people happy to watch, then what's the problem? Let's pull. Let them pull.
No. He is asking that, if it should be either wild or pal or something in between. But
for me, it doesn't matter.
Comparing to me like this and that is to me wrong. One is just a business that chooses its own rules. The other one is a WAF that is just internationally recognized by the 60 countries and then came to this point by the evolution of the sport, decided on the Congress by so many countries, It's not like, let me make a rule, whatever I say it happens. For the show of the, sport. The other one is different. It is more like in a democratical way of the world, It's two different things,
I like all the leagues, and if both pullers are agreed to pull under PAL rules or WAL, that's fine. For me, it doesn't matter which organization they choose. The running foul, I don't like. There should be a running foul. Fouling to stop the match should be avoided.
Yes, I agree. So you like the fact that the running foul prevents that?
Yes. There should be a running foul.
Yep. Okay. No, what I was meaning.
It's not always intentional, Just you maybe try to beat the guy. You are that far. You may elbow foul, but then the foul happens, and then you continue pulling. The match can go half a minute, and then you win the match, and then restart happens just because your foul is running. You didn't do the second foul. You pull extra 30 seconds, and then you win, and then you start again, right? This is how it goes, right?
But again, you don't need to pull that 30 seconds.
It doesn't make sense.
But you don't need to pull the 30 seconds. That's a choice.
No, not the choice. You may have to.
No, I don't understand what you mean. You may have.
Then you put your elbow back, and then you cannot pin the guy. You can continue, and you know that while you're thinking you're gonna beat the guy, and then you're gonna start again. You need to beat the guy again. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense. Just my opinion. I respect yours. You respect mine. That's all.
Everybody's been on the caffeine, I think, tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the point that I was trying to make there, Engin, is more around, do you think there's actually a benefit to Professional Arm Wrestling League and World Arm Wrestling League, or any of the major organisations, if this was to happen in neutral ground? So in other words, if you were, for exactly the reasons that you just pointed out, you disagree with anything that's not purist arm wrestling, if the match was to go the way that you didn't want it to go in a different scenario, could that not then be to your benefit? You can say, the result would have been different if it had been in purist format.
I don't think you know,
valid consideration, isn't it?
If these two guys, you know, we're talking about Michael is giving trouble to Dennis, you understand? And, you know, Pushkar, all this happened, that those examples happen under the rules, you know.
Oh, yeah, he's never competed in PAL against all of those big names.
I don't think that it's a strange ground for Michael either. Michael has pulled WAF many times. Even I think the Arnold Classic is not far from the WAF rules as far as I know, but, you know, and I don't know. I don't think that Arnold Classic is the wild either. So I think Michael can pull anywhere,
I don't think
anytime.
Michael's too bothered about where he arm wrestles, Engin. I think it's the other way.
The only thing that I'm trying to be realistic is that if I would want to convince Igor to this match to happen, you know, and Michael 100% deserves this match. Anyone who says that, you know, Michael doesn't deserve is wrong. Igor can say this way, we have a rules, we have a qualification. Yeah, I understand that. But if he says that Michael is not a worthy opponent, then that's plain wrong. Nobody can say it. Nobody should say it. It's sorry, you know, as I didn't want people to disrespect Igor, I also wouldn't want Igor to disrespect Michael. And then whenever we criticize even the desperation move or something, we don't go personal, like anything personal with Michael. We just criticize that thing, which started even before Michael, that I had been always like against it. It's not about personally. Michael is a great guy, great puller. You know, yeah, he's very well-rounded. People, as I wrote many times, who thinks that, you know, he's only that move, they are just don't know anything about arm wrestling. The guy probably the most well-rounded puller ever, you know. And he is not slow guy. He switches for a super heavyweight. He has the quality of a middleweight, lightweight.
I really want to try and get out of the whole scenario of disrespect this or disrespect that. I don't want to stay into it. I think that can shadow things and actually can create too much emotion and take away from the clarity of what I think we need to try and focus on, which is purely and simply what is the benefit or detriment of the match itself taking place. And is there really any? Is there a massive detriment to the match taking place in another league?
No, I mean, to say, Michael, that he doesn't deserve the match, I mean, don't you think it's disrespect?
I do, mate, but I think Michael's already addressed that on his own channel.
I share the same opinion, you know. So I think that what should happen that, you know, if Igor is not able to set something for those guys, if Wally is not able to set something for these guys, you know, like Devon and Michael, and then if there is an opportunity, let them sit, discuss, and then find something, and then let them pull, you know, we all will be happy. You know, some people think that Michael is going to kill Levon. Some people think that Levon is going to beat Michael. Then let's see what happens.
Thinks I'm going to kill him? Who the hell is that?
No,
I'm not going to kill him. You know? The hell's wrong with you?
I think people who are looking for the battle probably on Michael's definitely will be in Michael's camp, because I think there's a school of thought that if the match stops, Michael wins. I think that's there are various schools of thought out there. One of them is that if Levon beats him, it's just too strong.
Michael stopped Pushkar. You know, whenever the match happened in Poland, I was up there. And it was like 2-2. And I said this before as well. And Pushkar was so afraid to do the deadlift shoulder press because of his experiences from like some years ago. He tried, and then he knew that it didn't work. So I was like, why the hell are you not trying? It's not the like same thing. You know, you are far on his hand. You know, this time is going to work. And then he finally figured out if he would continue the way he's pulling, he was going to lose to Michael that day. But I believe that Levon also has that intelligence, well-rounded, and strength to do the same thing, to hit and stay far, and then even he cannot drop his wrist and go with shoulder. I think he has that potential. I'm not saying that he will for sure do. My opinion is gonna win, but I think he has that potential. Don't think that, you know, the match stops and then for sure Michael is gonna win. It may not be the right opinion.
Maybe not, but I'm more going around the schools of thought that are out there, mate. I think rather than sort of weighing on opinions, I'm more around I think there's the popular opinions that are out there. One of them would be that Levon is too strong and he simply runs through Michael. The second one is that if the match stops, it turns into a battle, a real battle. And from there, it becomes an endurance thing, and the pendulum of opportunity swings way more in favour of Mike, because the enemy of the powerhouse is endurance. You know?
I will not be the same person that pulled push card. I will not be going to trying to be a 310-pound mass monster. I will be a very fit, strong, prepared version of myself. But yeah, I agree. All those options are on the table. Levon's a phenomenal arm wrestler. He has tons of he's very well rounded. And I talk about this all the time, and Devon and I both say this. He's very good at arm wrestling. He just doesn't have to show it because he's so strong. Like, he just beats everybody so bad, we forget how good at arm wrestling he is. So just because I stop the match doesn't mean I win the match. And I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at how I believe I can stop the match and what moves and transitions I'm going to do from that point. But yeah, I mean, to me, this is an exciting match. This is a legacy match for me. Like Engin said, if I do win this match without King's move, I have to be in the conversation for some of the greatest of all time because the guy is a monster.
For sure, probably.
Just win the match, Mike. Don't care how you do it. Just win it.
I like that theory, too, because there is going to be a win bonus. There will be a win bonus in this match.
Well, one of the things that came up, I wanted to just bring Krasi in again on. We had Krasi on the Deep Inside show the other day, and one of the comments that he made there, we got a lot of feedback on. And that was that he felt that Dave Chaffee was probably the strongest arm that he'd ever pulled against. Now, it's therefore viable to think that Levon won't be too far away in terms of raw top-end power to what Michael has experienced previously with Dave Chaffee. So, if he could overcome that level of power, there's definitely an opportunity to potentially overcome a similar level of power in Levon. Which, again, it sort of puts the counterweight on the scale from what's been going on in Dubai, where people have been equating just the power on the lifting exercises towards the outcome of the match. It definitely gives that, it puts that counterweight on the scale and balances things up a great deal. How do you see that, Krasi? Do you think that Dave is comparable in terms of physical strength with Levon?
I believe that Dave has stronger arm, but I'm sure that Levon has stronger wrist.
Arm and wrist, yeah. And certainly bigger.
And for Michael, you need to have strong wrist and hand. So
it's going to make him a very difficult opponent. I'm telling you, it's a tall order. It's a tall order, but I'm ready to climb that mountain.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like you say, this is more, when we were talking on the phone the other day, Michael, I think one of the things here is, it's the, win, lose, or draw. You really want to know.
Dude, that's it. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, this is just arm wrestling. I'm still going to go on and have a happy life. I got amazing family. Things are still going to be great. I just want to know whether or not I can beat this big dude. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to.
And the irony is that the point that I was sort of driving at earlier on is the fact that none of the leagues being active, if you were a member of the PAL, a member of the WAL, whoever you are, there's probably never been a better time to legitimize it in your own mind. So you think, okay, what harm does it do, for Christ's sake? This guy's not part of our league. We're not necessarily doing it in the rule system or the format that we would ordinarily do. So what harm can it possibly do? What it will do is get a hell of a lot of views and a hell of a lot of people looking at the sport of arm wrestling. And once you find the sport, then it becomes bigger than Michael pulling Levon. It becomes, I'm a fan of arm wrestling. And suddenly you find out that, Krasimir Kostadinov.
Hey, Neil. Wait 1 second. Maybe they already pulled, and all this noise is because if they're wondering, should we post the video or not?
Yeah, I mean, and in a couple of weeks, Rebecca will stick a post up and it just says, "Ha bastards." And it's them in the Freedom Arm Wrestling table in there.
I wouldn't take it seriously. I wouldn't take it seriously as they made Levon so tired there.
Maybe they pulled the first day.
If they pull fresh for fresh, it would mean something. But what I believe, if they would set a date 2 months later, I think that Michael is going to be like more stronger than like if Michael is gonna put 15%, I think Levan is gonna put only 10%. I think Michael has more to put. That's my opinion.
I think the initial intention was for it to be somewhere around April, May, wasn't it? You know, so if you at that time, if you have sort of 3 months opportunity to prep, it's not bad.
No, I mean, absolutely. I knew that, we've said it numerous. Devon can show up any day and be a very close percentage of the bad dude that he is on competition day. I'm not that dude. Like, I can show up and be pretty good on a daily basis, or I can show up for a specific date and be really strong on that day. And a lot of that comes down to just preparation for me. I train every day, so I'm always broke down. Maybe I just don't have the muscular endurance that Devon has, or as many options that he has, or whatever. I don't know. But I do believe if you give me a day, I can be a really bad dude on that day. But yeah, the whole point is, and so Levon and I we never arm wrestled one time. We gripped each other's hands, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done not to pull on that dude.
Yeah.
Even without the camera?
I just wanted to see if I could peel those fingers off the back of my hand so bad. But I knew that it would take away from it. It would take away from what we're trying to do here. And what we're trying to do is expose arm wrestling to the masses. I said it a while ago. I mean, this really is an amazing opportunity. And to comment on what you're talking about, Neil, I don't think it needs to happen under PAL. I don't think it needs to happen under WAL. I think we need to make those two entities happy and just have some other promotion do the match. Y'all sit on the side, grab some popcorn. This shit's going to be entertaining. You know, you don't have to have anything to do with it other than just give us your blessing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I totally agree with Mike. So the main two factors there. I'm pretty sure you're good to do it, right? Like your contract, whatever, you're gonna do it.
Not restricted, you mean? Yeah, not contractually restricted.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie and they know why I was coming over here, and They haven't said anything to me about it.
Right. And so the only question is Levon. Is Levon restricted? Like every time I've ever worked with the PAL, I've never signed a contract. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's different for the top 8 guys. Krasi, you maybe know. Like, is Levon allowed to, like, is he gonna get in trouble if he pulls?
I don't know.
You know, whenever Igor
Did you read that, Krasi? Did you read that?
I don't know if Levan was going to have troubles if he pulled that match. I really cannot say.
Okay, would you be allowed to pull the match?
Maybe I would do it even without asking.
Okay. Yeah, right. And that's the way I would feel if I was Levon. That'd be going through my head. Maybe I'll do it without asking. You know, I don't know. I mean, but that's the real question. Will Levon do it? Will Levon do it if the pot gets sweet enough, or is the threat from PAL or whatever it is so great that he will be restricted? And does that mean that you must use PAL? And will PAL do it?
I can say this. Igor said that the year that top 8 will happen, you're not allowed to pull any tournament with your right arm.
That I can understand. I can understand that because of the amount of investment that they are putting into the tournaments, which let's be honest, the professional league tournaments are extremely professional. Clues in the title. They do excellent shows. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of investment. Sure, they don't want to lose their roster of athletes. I 100% get that. That's why it's so critical that if it was going to happen, now is a great time.
Just the thing right now is that it's not sure if there will be top 8 or not, or any other tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for this situation, exception have to be taken.
Okay, Engin, quick one for you here, mate. Obviously,
Neil,
you said earlier...
Neil, don't forget your question. What Devon asked, you know, if Levan would get into trouble. You remember the first video that Igor shared, that, you know, Levan knows what he can lose, you know. But I don't think that he was talking about losing against Michael. Probably he was talking about the legal cases that he can lose by pulling a match which is against his contract. I think he was meaning about the contract when he said that Levan can lose. He knows what he loses, if he pulls. He doesn't mean arm wrestling. He talks about, I have the contract, I have the legal rights. If he pulls, he's gonna lose a lot. I think he meant that one. So you can ask your question.
Now, that could be just to sort of come back on that. That could be because he perceives that there's some detriment to the validity of the PAL, because if their champion lost, it devalues him. There may be an argument there if you're the league. But looking at another thing that sorry, Devon, did you have a point you wanted to make on that?
Well, it's just funny. So all four of us are in agreement that this match should and needs to happen and can be worked through. But that video with the athletes, they were all like, yeah, this can't happen. We need to get some of those guys on here and have them explain what they're thinking. Because to me, I can't believe that anybody thinks that this match shouldn't happen.
If I think the whole point that they were making in there, and Dave made it, Trudy made it.
I want to say something. For the last 15 years, I thought leaving arm wrestling just once. It was 2009, and we had some confrontation with Arsen Khachatudorov, and back then he forbid me to take part in one arm wrestling competition in Turkey. He said, right now you are punished and you are not allowed to pull there. And back then I was thinking to stop arm wrestling. I was thinking like, nobody should tell me where I can go and pull and what should I do. That's my choice. So this is what I think, and for all the organization, they should not forbid you to pull anywhere. If you it's your choice where to pull.
Sure. Yeah, that's a pretty valid point. I think it's also important that we don't get a sort of situation out and amongst the people that they sort of ganging up on big leagues and ganging up on organisations which are tremendously beneficial for the sport in its entirety. World Arm Wrestling League and Professional Arm Wrestling League, I think both the arm wrestling community as a whole needs to sort of recognise that and doff their caps a little bit in that respect, because they're both excellent organisations. My question would be, can we learn from this and come out of this situation with something that's going to be beneficial for all parties? And by that, I mean, one of the blocks and one of the things that the athletes that Devon spoke about in the bits that have come out from Professional Arm Wrestling League, were all talking about this can't happen because it would get around the regulatory system we've got, the qualification system that we currently have in place. Is it fair then to say that we need to have within the World Arm Wrestling League and the Professional Arm Wrestling League some kind of vehicle which facilitates matches like this? So some unique entity within the league which allows athletes, whether it be via contractual agreement, so there's a clause with any contract that they sign, that in a period of inactivity, they are allowed to compete outside of that league in a different environment, or within that league. And they can bring in co-sponsors, different rule sets, and it becomes sort of like an additional super match within the top 8. So it's there's no involvement in the top 8 at all. It sits outside of it, but it's a showpiece match.
I'm pretty sure that we have some lawyers in the arm wrestling community. I know Gord Squire is a contract lawyer. Without a doubt, what's going on right now is not in any contract. The amount of period that we've all had to take off, it doesn't seem right that you're contractually bound when you're not being allowed to work and not being paid a salary. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because if you are a professional arm wrestler and you're not able to arm wrestle,
you can't be denied. You can't deny the right to earn a living.
No,
you can't.
Yeah. So on that note, Neil, I don't think we have to have any of that. These are special circumstances. I mean, that's where we're at right now. We don't have to figure out this contract, that contract, and all that stuff. We have special circumstances right now. We have a unique opportunity to have the best from the East versus the best from the West, and it's great for the community, just like you said. If I lose, it's not going to hurt the WAL. If he loses, it's not going to hurt the PAL. I mean, we're just two guys who want to arm wrestle, and the world wants to see it. So why not blow this thing up, make it massive, and bring more eyes and potential more sponsors to this sport that we love? I mean, we don't have to have all this. We're going too far. All we're trying to do is just two guys that want to arm wrestle. You know what I'm saying? That's really, and we have an opportunity to do it.
Can I ask you a question, Michael? Two things I will ask you. One, did you guys already have a sponsor to cover this? And two, did Levan mention like any minimum amount that he would pull you?
Okay, so I can't say. I want.
No. Listen. Let me clarify. Like, did you guys at least agree on something non-official?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that kind of potential. There's always going to be options to facilitate that.
So, I mean, I threw out some numbers that I had said the last time I was here, and those numbers are reflective of the magnitude of this match. And all I need right now is the okay from the leagues.
How do you feel physically, Mike? Or do you think that timing?
I'm a bad man.
And if we were talking about April, May, you're good to go. You think you could get yourself in mega shape for that?
Dude, as soon as I'm gonna tell you this, as soon as this thing potentially could be confirmed, I'm on the next flight home. Because I'm going back to my monster factory. I'm going to train my ass off, and I will be a bad dude the day of this thing. Mm-hmm. I love training here. We get some great content, but I train much harder for arm wrestling back home than I am here. This is a lot of work, man. It really is. Doing all this content and having to shoot this and shoot that and being a full gym and have to wait on this or wait on that, it's not how I'm used to training. I'm used to being in my home gym, killing it. Got some videos of Devon on, watching him while I'm training. Apparently, these are going to be Levon videos while I'm training. But, yeah, dude, I'm ready. All you got to do is say yes. You tell me yes, this is going to happen, and I guarantee you the most prepared, best version of me that has ever existed shows up on that day, win or lose. I will give it everything I got.
You know what, Neil? I think after all this, if when Michael and Levan was in Dubai, they were in Dubai. If this match was set without any problems, Igor said okay or something. If it would take this much of attention, now after Igor said no, but if somehow this is set, it's gonna take this much of attention right now.
Igor might be smarter than everybody.
He might be the best promoter in the world.
Dana White. I said that the other day on the Fix. Dana White with Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. That match never going to happen. Never going to happen. 3 months later, there they are in a ring.
Neil, I think that even by social media, you can raise up to $100,000 for this match.
Oh,
this
God.
Is what yeah.
The potential for that is when you factor in a lot of things. It's significant.
I would donate $100 by myself from here. It's okay.
Well, there you go. Hey, joking aside, super chats. My God,
all we need is 999 more of you.
Listen, joking aside, guys, the point I was making earlier is businesses all over the world have had to evolve to the situation with COVID-19. And I think maybe it's time that arm wrestling and the big leagues look at each other's setup and think, you know what? This is beneficial for all of us. If this keeps the sport afloat, if it keeps it in the public consciousness, when we are not able to do anything. So the Professional Arm Wrestling League has stood down. The World Arm Wrestling League has stood down. You'd spend a lot of money on marketing the sport, just keeping people talking about arm wrestling. If they think about that and think about, okay, what benefits could this do? There could be a potential for a match to take place now with Mike and Levan and whatever guys they see fit and earn from that, and then potentially the guys rematch in PAL and in WAL. That's just a scenario, but everybody could win. The fans would win. The organisations would win. Michael and Levan would win. Potentially, learnings there,
the community is not satisfied by why to say which Devon do you like more, or why to put this guy, like those kind of day one action. And while he's not spending money, if this can happen somehow, then it is good to keep the fire.
Yes, it gives everybody something to focus on. As Mike said, needs something.
The thing is that if Igor really trusts his guy, I mean, he should be in. I think if he says that no, in June I have top 8, I understand that he doesn't want this to happen because it's 2 months before the top 8. But if Igor says that no top 8, just let this happen. Just it's not fair for arm wrestling. This is my opinion. And another thing I want to say, this Krasimir guy is probably the most honest guy in the community. Because he is...
What the fuck did the sweet shop things made you think I'm dishonest? I was 4 years old. Don't let Michael's outburst throw you, I was 4.
This guy is qualified for top 8. This guy is qualified for top 8, and he is defending the freedom of arm wrestler to pull wherever he wants. He just gave an example. And now that example that he gave is no good for Igor's stance on this subject, but he still said it, you understand? So
no, it's very honest. I just got to say it was hilarious watching Devon hold up the script. That shit was hilarious.
That was good.
I would like to say that Neil Pickup is a good man, and his rule system was probably the best that arm wrestling has ever seen.
This is exactly as we roll. He's doing it exactly as it rolls.
I have a question.
Yeah, mate.
Why Michael and Levan didn't pull when there were no cameras?
Because I wouldn't do that. If I was them, honestly, my answer to that would be, why do it for no money?
Levan answered this. Do you remember the Presence of Greatness we did with Levan together?
Yeah.
Do you remember we asked Levan?
I remember.
Levan, he wouldn't want to try with Michael because he is experienced, knowledgeable. He wouldn't want to figure out how to beat Levan. So he said that only time he will pull, Michael is in the competition. Do you remember that, Michael? He said this?
Yeah.
That was a terrible thing. That doesn't make any sense. He should have done it the exact opposite way. If anybody's got to learn from anyways, it's Levan learning.
There's no one out there that can arm wrestle the way I arm wrestle. So him arm wrestling me in practice would actually benefit him more than it would hurt him.
Absolutely.
But
you've
remember that
conversation.
Levan
a million times. You've already
That's exactly what he said. But yeah, we
absolutely agree.
He made sense of that. This is what he said.
It's what he said. It's what he said. But it didn't really make sense because he would gain more knowledge for us practicing than I would. I already know how strong he is. He would be able to feel the pressure that I'm going to put on his hand and his wrist in that practice pool, and he'd be better able to prepare for it. But yeah, so we did not get on the table. I mean, like I said, we gripped each other's hand and we took some pictures and we messed around and took different photos on dinner tables and shit like that. But not one time did we apply any pressure. But yeah, it really came down to, I think both of us want to find out on that day when the match is happening. We want it to be, we just want to prepare the way we think we're supposed to prepare, and then on that day, find out who had the better game plan.
Well, it would have been a shame if it had happened at that time because neither of you went over to Dubai to face you. Like you say, you got off. You were actually in Dubai when you found out it was coming. Yeah, did you say?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't take off training. I mean, I trained every day until the day he got here, and then we trained every day that he was here. And on the last day, he was like, "Hey, do you want to do a workout?" He's like, "No, I don't want to work out. No. Let's go drive that McLaren." I was like, "Well, I'm done with this."
You're both professionals. You're both going to be. You both want to come in there. You said it a moment ago. You want to come in there absolutely after working your ass off, ready. That's the
I'm
thing.
telling you, it was hard though. It really was hard. It was hard not to get on the table, but I knew we had something. I really just, for me, I believe this is going to happen. I genuinely do. Like I saw what Igor said, and maybe you're right. Maybe there wasn't a whole lot of excitement. Now Igor's response has created a lot of excitement. Maybe he's the smartest one out of all of us, and he's just promoting the shit out of this thing. I don't know, but I still believe this is going to happen. Now,
Mike, when before you come to Dubai and meet him, and you get to know him closer now, like, is he less or more impressive than you were thinking before?
You mean physically?
He's very impressive. He's very impressive.
So he is a little bit better than what you were thinking of him, or?
I don't know. I had high respect for him already, right? The stuff that we did showcased his strengths, right? The videos that we filmed, and I did the very best I could. So I'm not going to say I sandbagged it all, but we focused on the things that he was going to be better than me at. I do think there's a couple of areas that I'm better at. But yeah, so what he was good at, he was very, very good at, and I was very, very impressed. But yeah, so I can't say that he's more impressive than I thought he was, but what I can tell you, I'm more impressed with how good of a person he is than how good of an arm wrestler he is.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest young man. Oh, it came over so strong. I think that's done him a world of good. I think his persona has just come across so strongly in those videos that he's such a big, friendly dude, just a massive teddy of a man. And I think that's really probably earned him a lot of fans. I do think a lot of people warm to him. Which is nice.
That's what's so good about this sport. We all know that. We can give each other shit or whatever, but this is just a big family union getting together arm wrestling. It's just an extended family. We all love this underground sport that we've been involved with forever, and we've just created close relationships over those years. And that's this sport allows you to showcase that. It showcases, we can be on the table. And Devon and I can be enemies on the table, and then we can kick it afterwards. It's just, that's what arm wrestling is. And that was in one of our Q&As, that's what I was talking about, is I had more fun just hanging out with him than I actually did doing our training. And the training was a blast. It was a lot of fun. But it's the off the table stuff that was more fun. I had never gone 200 miles an hour in a car before, much less in the passenger seat. That's some scary shit.
I would have been shitting myself.
Oh my God!
In the passenger seat, I drive, but not in the passenger seat. Jesus!
I never give up control like that, But I knew how much it meant to him, and I was like, "Well, hop in, big guy." So we just took off. But yeah, all that being said, I just real quick. Let's just say May. Let's say May. Say no top 8 in June. No top 8. Maybe there's going to be a top 8 at Zloty in November, December. Let's say May, end of May, and we could announce something before the end of the month. You have March, April, May to push this thing. How big could this match be?
Well, I think just to pick that point up, right? Let's going back to what I was saying earlier. Okay, there is an opportunity now where arm wrestling has some big following. Devon's got, what are you at, Dev? 340, I think. What are you at? So let's say he's 340, 350. You've got Ryan's channel, probably around the 40 mark. Your own Mike, 40 odd. We've got Alex, Bazykos channel, Schoolboy's channel, 1 million.
1 million.
WAL.
Larry's 1.5 now.
PAL. Larry 1.5. If this thing Big Laws, I could probably get him involved so we get a strongman crossover. Eddie. There's all kinds of things. I think we got to a situation where the PAL say, you know what? Okay, let's do this thing. WL are in, everybody's in. I think as a community, we should all bang the keen drum. Get out there and be like, it's on. Let's do this thing. And everybody go out, make as much noise as we can about this thing. Take all this disrespect bullshit out of it. And everybody just go crazy. Promote the living daylights out of the match. And let's have some fun for what this thing is. It's an arm wrestling match between two good dudes who want to pull. Let's see how big we can make it and see how many eyeballs we can get on it. And that will be mega.
Yeah. Imagine that hype for months and months and months. Everyone goes there and then Levon just 5 times in a row flashes Michael. We all go home.
You pissed on the dream there, Engin.
What that now?
What's that about?
That's like...
Killed it, Engin. I was there trying to create the dream, and Engin comes flying in and says, "Oh, Levon, just run him over 5-0."
What grabs your eyes on that, if anything?